Hey guys, how's it going? I'm Chris. This is Jon. If you guys are new to the channel, if you guys are old to the channel, you guys know Jon.
I've been around.
You have been around.
The block.
He's got his own channel now, by the way. If you guys want to check that out, I'll link it below. Veganism has really grown since we went vegan a lot. And with that, there's going to be more people that are going to be vocally against it. So there's a small community of anti-vegans out there, and I did a response video to one recently. But I just want to share with the audience, you know, not just my story, because I've already told that several times, but also you've been vegan almost as long as me, and I just want to ask you some questions about your experience going vegan.
Definitely.
Okay, so I guess, when did you go vegan?
February 4th, 1997.
See, he knows the exact date just like I do. Okay, so that makes it, what, 23 years now? 22 years?
Yeah, almost.
Okay. You're over the 20-year mark, which makes it, it was before the internet, how it is now. So it was before Google, before YouTube. So it was a little bit, you know, I never want to say that it was hard to be vegan, but it was a little bit more difficult then than it is now. It's just so easy now.
Yeah, I mean, I would say you didn't have as many comfort food options as you do now. Nowadays, you have all these things that replicate what we had growing up. When we first went vegan back in the 90s, it was stuff that was vegan, you know, for centuries, like falafel. Centuries? How old is falafel? Does anybody know?
It's like 3,000 years.
Okay, good. So it's not, it's like older than humanity. Yeah. But I remember one of my first experiences with you at your house, at your parents' house. I was hanging out with your brother, like playing music or whatever, and you were in the kitchen and you were making food, and it smelled so good.
Is it before you were vegan?
Before I was even vegetarian.
Okay.
And I don't think I've ever actually told this story, but I just remember how good the food smelled. And I was like, you had some friends over, and it was just like, I don't know, I thought you guys were cool. You're cool, you're still cool. Even after all these years, you're all right in my book. But I was like, man, these guys they're all eating a bunch of vegan, vegetarian food. It smells really good, and I wanted to try it, and you even let me try it. I don't know if you remember that, but.
What was it?
It was falafel, but you had like a marinara sauce with it.
Okay.
It was a.
I was always, back then I was just, well, I still am, but back then I was trying
experimenting with all sorts of stuff. Yeah, and like, it was really, I don't know, it was just really good. It's nothing that I ever had before, and probably I would say that was like my first experience with. You know, I'd hung out with your brother Brian, and I knew he was vegetarian and everything, but that was my first experience with, like, you know, I think you'd only been vegan for 1 or 2 years at that point, so it was all really new and exciting. But that's what we had to eat back then. We didn't have like Tofurky's been around, but it wasn't, we couldn't get to it. You know, they weren't selling it at Wegmans. They were selling stuff like tempeh, tofu, your staples that we use a lot now. But now it's really easy. If I'm craving ice cream, I can get a ton of different flavors that are vegan, where back then it was tofu. What else was really, I mean, I was a peanut butter and jelly vegan for a long time. I wasn't really like thinking about health or anything.
French fries.
Yeah, anything that was just not coming from an animal, I would eat, whether it was healthy or not. I wasn't really in it for health reasons. I was in it because I was exposed to what the meat and dairy industry were all about, what farming was all about, factory farming.
And this was before all those documentaries came out. It's before, you know, being able to look things up on the internet too.
I think that's why it's actually exploded now, because
the internet,
like, people are able to see these images, and it makes them change. Where, you know, I changed by being introduced to the food by you and your brother, and also a little bit in the hardcore scene as well. You know, Syracuse was really big with veganism back in the late 90s with bands like Earth Crisis. And I gotta say, they didn't really get me to go vegan. I was already vegan when I started listening to them a lot more. But what I liked about listening to bands like Earth Crisis was like the bus ride to school. You know, I would listen to that music and it would get me all pumped up, and because it wasn't popular. I don't know if you got picked on at all in school. But when people found out I was vegan, the jokes would come for like 10 or 15 minutes. I became immune to it after a while. But like listening to that kind of music made me feel like I wasn't alone, because you were you were graduated by the time I was, vegan.
And it doesn't seem like it, but when I was in high school, I wasn't vegan in high school. I didn't go vegan until a couple months after I graduated. I was a vegetarian throughout high school, but I never got picked on for any of that. I did get picked on in high school, but not because of that.
It wasn't bad. It was all playful, like, oh, can you eat this? They'd say something vulgar.
Here, have a piece of cheese.
Yeah. I mean, there was one time that somebody did throw a piece of hot dog at me, and I wanted to.
Yep.
But I just kind of.
I remember that.
Yeah. That's a real piece of work of a person right there that'll do that.
So for me, it was something new. It was like a new, fun, exciting, new challenge in my life, as far as trying to figure out what I was going to eat. Well, my new lifestyle. So did you feel the same way, or did you feel?
I was scared, only because I didn't have my license or anything. So I really had to rely on my mom buying me vegan food. So that was difficult my first year. Once I got my license, it was a lot easier. And I was excited because you go to Wegmans, you're like, what can I make? I remember my first experience with tempeh. I don't know why I did this, but I was just like, oh, let's just see what this does. So I made a pizza, and regular pizza with mushrooms and a bunch of veggies, and I grated up just tempeh and put it on top. And it was so gross.
Yeah.
It was so gross.
Tempeh is one of those things, if you don't make it right, it's
yeah,
not good.
It was like a bitter, and it was just soggy, and it was terrible. But I was really excited to try new things, and scared, because what am I gonna eat if I can't go to the store myself and get my food? But like I was saying, I would prepare all sorts of stuff by myself late at night after my parents already ate dinner, and it was a lot of fun, and it really intrigued me to go to culinary school. I had a really good relationship with food. I would say I don't have such a good relationship with food nowadays, because junk food vegan is just so much more prevalent than it was back then, I think. Am I wrong on that?
Yeah, there's way more junk food now, although back then it was like we just ate things that weren't really healthy for us, but there's so much junk food now that's available because they pretty much replicated everything you can. I mean, we have vegan M&Ms, we have vegan peanut butter cups, anything you can think of, ice cream, cake.
All the bad stuff.
All the bad stuff. So they have vegan versions of it, which is good and bad. I mean, it's good in the sense that there's really no reason not to go vegan, because anything you can think of, you can have vegan and delicious. Doesn't mean it's going to be healthy, but that's the other point I was going to get to. So a lot of people think, at least these anti-vegans, that you can't be a vegan long term. I've said my part in my video, but for you, you've been vegan over 20 years, and you pretty much, because of your lifestyle, working all the time, never being home, you pretty much are a junk food vegan.
Yeah, I mean,
and look at you don't.
I'm a little thinner than I'd like to be this time of year, because I walk over 10 miles a day at my job.
And that's not a joke. He showed me his step meter on his phone. 10, 11, 12 miles.
10, 12, 14, I think 17 was that's crazy, because it's only on a small, 11-acre lot.
Constantly
so I'm walking back and forth. There's a problem here, gotta go fix that.
Yeah.
But when I get home, I'm really tired, and I would rely on stuff like those Guardian sliders. Delicious.
Yeah.
Not
easy
probably the most healthy. It's not very nutritionally packed for me, and I did fine for 20 years of eating stuff like that.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean I want to continue to do that. I probably would start to see some issues going down. If I keep eating peanut butter cups, I'll probably die.
You'll probably turn into one.
Yeah.
But you have a lot of people don't know this, but you interned at places like Candle 79, a very famous vegan restaurant in New York City. You worked at a raw juice place.
Yep, in the Lower East Side.
So you know how to make all these foods. You have juicers, and now you have that dehydrator that I gifted you from Chefman.
Oh yeah, because I'm trying something with walnuts right now, actually.
Oh, nice.
I'm gonna go taste them when I get home.
All right, cool.
I'm making a nice savory, crunchy snack. But anyway, yeah, when I went vegan, I developed this relationship with food and just realized, I don't know, ever since I was a teenager, I wanted to see the change. I wanted to help more people go vegan, and really, when you told me about creating the Vegan Zombie YouTube channel, I was so on board, because it completely perfectly aligned with really what I want to do with my life. I want to show everybody, hey, remember that food that you really loved when you were a kid? Well, we can replicate that, so you still get that nostalgic feeling, you still get that yumminess that you had when you were growing up, but without the cruelty, without, you know, killing anything. And I think that is really important to talk about, because so many people, when I first went vegan all the way up until now, are like, why do you get vegan pepperoni or vegan ham or vegan anything? And I'm like, I don't know, I just like the way that tastes. It kind of brings me back to like that summer in 1986, you know, feel. And
as long as it's cruelty free, it's not coming from an animal, like, who cares?
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
I get to relive my childhood and eat the foods that I grew up loving. I bet if I were to have children, I would probably want to switch to more whole foods and show them that really you should be growing your own food and go that route.
And you have a garden too, which you're working on some videos there.
Yeah, I tried to do a couple of videos. I'm gonna do a couple more when I get home and show you the progress. It's already like, my cucumber plants were that big, and they're like that big now. Awesome. It's pretty big, Chris. That's big.
I think what we're gonna do is, we've been talking about it, we're gonna make, on my second channel, we're gonna start doing some podcasts, and I think we have a lot of stuff we could talk about on there. And one of them that just came to mind is, we should really talk about how fun it was in some of the episodes that we made at the beginning and behind the scenes kind of things.
Yeah, when we first started doing those longer videos, like that one intro, the post-apocalyptic pot pie, that was one of my favorite ones. And what was another really fun one that we did?
Well, the French toast, that was a big production.
Was that the one where what was the Strong Hearts one?
The Strong Hearts one.
When we did the egg trick muffin. Yeah. That was a big production too.
Also the black bean burger that we made at Jeff's.
Yep.
That like old scary house. Yeah, that was fun. Oh, and the shepherd's pie. That was a good one.
Oh, that was done at the Woodstock Sanctuary, right?
We should save this for like that podcast.
Yes, we should. Yeah. We're gonna rewind this.
Okay, so sustaining veganism for 20 years. How did you handle situations where you were in public where there weren't too many vegan options when you were with other people, maybe at work or whatever you were?
So you're not gonna die if you skip a meal, right?
Exactly.
I remember going to the K-Rockathon, which is this big
music festival
in Syracuse. I was a high school kid. I think it was the late 90s or early 2000s, late 90s, because I graduated in 2000. And there was nothing vegan. And I just remember I was so hungry that I just ate a ketchup packet. Whatever. But that happens often, and it's okay to be like, I'm just gonna make something when I get home. Sometimes it's a little uncomfortable when people are like, hey, I made this for you and it's not vegan. And really, I'll politely decline and just say, I'll say no thank you at first. If they really keep trying to force it, I'll say I have dietary restrictions, depending on my situation. If I'm a lone vegan and I have a house full and I don't want to be the center of conversation because I have, unfortunately, really bad social anxiety issues, like, I won't bring up the vegan part unless I absolutely have to, because that is why I won't eat it. But I will say I have dietary restrictions so that they're not offended. And now I play the audience right. If I know that I can actually sway some heads, I will actually talk about being vegan. But if I'm in a really awkward environment, I won't use that right away. What about you? Would you?
Yeah, same. I've been in situations like that, but I guess I'm different now than I was.
I was just gonna, like, as I was telling that story, I'm not ashamed. I'm not ashamed anymore or nervous.
I was more shy before, and I would really never bring up the vegan part. Like, this is before Vegan Zombie. I wouldn't bring up the vegan part. I would just be like, oh, I don't eat that. But if they kept pushing, I'd be like, well, yeah, I'm a vegan, and I don't eat that. And depending on the person you're talking to, they're either gonna be like, okay, that's really cool. Once in a while, I think somebody would, like, poke fun. And I was very, like, reserved and shy back then, but nowadays, like, I'm vegan, so, like, it's like no, but sometimes I might also, like, if I go out to a restaurant and it's not, like, I don't like going out to restaurants that are vegan friendly, but I have to go to these sometimes with when I'm with people. So when I ask for something that is vegan, I ask for it to be vegan, but I also say, due to dietary restrictions and allergies, because I don't want somebody to be like, take it very like lightly that I'm vegan. I don't want any kind of cross-contamination. I want them to be sure that they don't add any dairy or something into my food.
Yeah, you don't want the guy, hey Sam, scrape the cheese off that pizza.
Yeah. I want nothing like that because
that's gross.
Yeah, but if somebody sits down and tries to argue me or debate me, like I'll unapologetically, talk about the facts and that I'm vegan, but I don't go into a place being like, hey, I'm vegan. I like to go about it the way that we've done it on the Vegan Zombie, like kind of educate and inspire rather than just be like, hey guys, you guys gotta all go vegan.
Now, at work, I deal with a lot of landscapers, and they'll talk about bringing me something. Hey John, I gotta bring you some whatever, and I don't mind telling them I'm vegan. Then I start with vegetarian because I don't know if they know what vegan is yet.
Yeah,
that's a terrible assumption, but I'm like, no, I can't eat any of that stuff. I'm vegan. And then
have you ever had somebody say, oh, that's okay, it's all vegan, I'm vegan too?
No, I haven't met anybody that shops with us that happen to be vegan yet. Maybe they are and they just haven't. Some people just don't talk about it, because it's their personal choice. But where I used to say, I used to try to politely decline if I'm over at somebody's house. I just I don't know. I think I've been in that situation so many times that I know how to feel it out and either avoid it altogether or...
Well, that's the thing, being vegan as long as we've pretty much been in like almost every situation you can think of.
Yeah.
Being over at somebody's house where they go out of their way to make you something and it turns out not to be vegan. It's awkward, but sometimes, I never back down or give in. I'll be very polite and be like, I appreciate this so much, but I'm a vegan, I don't eat that, I can't eat that. But, thank you for going through like the lengths. Maybe we can, maybe I can make something next time and bring it.
That's only happened in like 20 something years.
Yeah.
I can count on one hand how many times that's at least happened to me, where like they made this whole ordeal and you're like, yeah, but you put eggs in it. I'm so sorry, but I do apologize for their labor that they put in. And then
the year you graduated, I was working at like, I was doing security at like a lumber yard, and it was my last day. I was moving to Florida for college. And they knew it was my last day, and they all liked me there. And I was like, oh no, don't do what I think you're gonna do. And they all like, come on back here. And I'm like, no, please don't. And they had a surprise going away party for me, and they bought a big cake and everything.
Oh man!
And it wasn't vegan, and they gave me a piece, and I'm holding it, and they're all like singing, or not singing. It wasn't Happy Birthday. They were all like, thanks for, you sure you don't want to stay and stuff like that. And I'm like, and they're like, okay, dig in. And I'm like, guys, I didn't know what to say because that's what I was thinking the whole time they were talking. I'm like, how am I going to break this to them?
Yeah.
I'm like, guys, I am so thankful that you guys did this for me, but I can't eat the cake. And they're like, why not? I'm like, I'm vegan. I can't eat the cake. I don't eat dairy or anything. And they're like, that's okay, more for us. And they grabbed it, and I was like, oh, great.
Oh.
But yeah, that was probably one of the most awkward things that I was feeling.
Yeah, because you appreciate, they appreciate you, and they're trying to show you that, and they're just not vegan.
Yeah.
And you have to break it to them somehow, because I know that I would never.
Yeah.
I'll never, and neither would you.
Yeah.
So it's like at some point you're gonna have to be like, no.
Yeah.
But do it as lightly as possible. And then if it ever ended up being,
usually, actually every single time, at least for me in 25 years, everybody has been understanding, whatever. If somebody was starting to get like aggressive about it, like, no, you need to eat this. I made this for you. I went out of my way and I made it for you. There'd be a point when I'd be like, look, I said I appreciate what you did, but I do not eat this. Like, I will not make an exception. I won't make one exception tonight for you or for anybody else. This isn't what I do. I won't do it.
Yeah.
So
it means that much to you that, you can't back down. I mean, this isn't just, hey, just try this piece of bread. And you're like, carbs. No, this is life.
I mean, I guess in the last, 5-10 years, I really haven't had that too much because most of my friends know that I'm vegan. I mean, so, yeah.
Yeah, everybody that works with me knows I'm vegan. There's one of my friends that works there is vegan.
Awesome.
Yeah, and there's one of my coworkers that works out in the nursery yard. She's now vegetarian on her way. I bet she'll be vegan. I don't know.
It's just planting that seed and showing people that it's not hard.
It's not hard. That's what we spent years trying to do with the Vegan Zombie, is being like, hey, here's why you should go vegan. Here's how you can go vegan. And it's so easy and fun. And your life doesn't have to change that much. No, your life doesn't have to change at all. But other lives will, just because you go vegan.
Exactly.
You know, and I think that's the driving point for me is, this isn't about a diet. This is about life. This is about humanity trying to reel back in. We've made animals a commodity, and they are not a commodity. We are supposed to coexist on this earth together, not have dominion over. And it just doesn't, that stuff, it'll never set right with me.
And we're not living in like the 1800s. We're living in 2019 where it's so easy to choose a compassionate version of food rather than cruelty from an animal.
I remember there was one guy that picked on me that I don't want to hold a grudge, but I just don't. And I remember I was at this like camping retreat, and I was the only vegan there, and it was like 150 people. And I brought my own food for the whole weekend. Nobody else brought food. I brought everything I needed. I had salad and pretzels and anything I needed that like I could rely on. And I remember they're all eating their gross stuff. I'm over just trying to mind my own business. And one of these guys is like, hey, you see these right here? These are canines, that's for meat. That's not really what he sounded like, but in my head it is now. And he was super rude and loud, and I just glared at him and just ate my salad. I'm like, you're an idiot.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. I mean, so right now we're sitting in a couch in a huge barn. We are at Mockingbird Farm Sanctuary, and I was just saying earlier, like Sophie the cow, 2,100 pound cow, the same mannerisms as my dog. I mean,
it's crazy,
yeah.
Right? The similarities.
Yeah, I mean, she warmed right up to me, and she's following me around. I'm doing my my videos and stuff, and she's right behind me licking me and stuff. Yeah, it's crazy that people do what they do to these animals.
And I mean, Chris, you can see every animal here has their own personality. I mean, if they were just put on this earth for us to, breed and use for food, I don't know. I feel like it's not necessary.
I mean, I've thought this way for many years since I first went vegetarian. So it's nothing new, but I did have like standing next to her today, standing next to Sophie the cow. I was looking at her as Janelle was spraying off her feet, and I was thinking to myself, imagine being her, immediately knowing that, yeah, there's a lot of vegans out there that love and that would do anything to protect her, but there's more people in the world that just want to kill her. Imagine being that cow or that person. Imagine the tables turned on you where you've done nothing wrong to anybody, but more than half the population of the country would kill you and eat you. What have you done to them? I mean, put yourself in their place. That's why I don't eat animals, but I just had that revelation even as a 25-year vegan, just standing next to her today, just thinking, wow, she's done nothing to anybody, and so many people would not bat an eyelash to have her dead.
Janelle tells her story a lot better than I do, but her life wasn't easy. She's had several babies taken away from her. Who knows what kind of, I don't know if I don't speak cow, so I really don't know if they, well, sometimes I do. I remember Janelle and I, when we drove to pick her up, she was days away from being taken away to slaughter or to be auctioned off again. This was like her third time. We finally...
For those of you wondering, Janelle is the co-founder of this farm sanctuary.
Janelle is the everything of this sanctuary, the life's blood of it. I mean, you saw everything that she does today on top of a full-time job and being a mom, and it's amazing that there is a need for this place, but it needs more help. And I'm very happy to be a part of it, and I need to be more involved because it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. But when we were picking her up, I was driving. She's heavy, but it felt like, wow, this is really happening. We are saving somebody. Instead of talking about it, we're really doing it, I'm just saying that was a different experience that I'd never felt before. Actually bringing her to this farm and just saying, here's a shelter for you to go in if it's too cold. Here's some grazing, field for you to graze in. Here's love. I'm babbling, but Sophie, I made a real connection with her probably because she's a cow. She's a big 2,000 pound animal, you know? It made me feel good. Made me feel like we're doing something to make the world a better place. And we can share Sophie's story in hopes that more people will go vegan and try to stop all the unnecessary, killing really. Even though she was a dairy cow, guess what happens when your milk production slows down? You get sent to slaughter. Instead of living 6 to 12 years, you're only living 3 years.
She's one lucky cow. And I'll tell you, like, you know, some people, they'll see a cow, they'll hear about a cow, they'll see a cow in the field, and they just think, oh, it's just a cow. Well, just today, like, you guys were fixing the fence way out in the pasture, and where's Sophie? She's right next to you. She followed you out there, and she's, you know, eating her grass as she's watching you guys work. And then when I was filming, she followed me on that little sidewalk, and I kept backing up. I'm like, okay, I got a 2,000 pound cow following me. And so, you know, she's so gentle. I start petting her, you know, licking me with that big slimy tongue, and it's all good.
Yeah, it was a great day.
Do you feel malnourished as a vegan for over 20 years? You don't feel like you're lacking anything, no brain fog, your teeth are good?
My teeth are good. I work more hours than almost anybody I know.
You're up super early. Yeah, you go. You know, and you have your channel now that you're working on. Go definitely follow him on his channel, support his channel, and you know, I know you're going to be doing more videos there too.
And I mean, I think we're going to be doing some videos together too.
Yep. Yeah,
so that'll be fun to get back into it.
I'm excited about doing the podcast. I don't know how often they're going to be, but I'd like to do some on the second channel and just talk about all the things that are up here, you know, that we've experienced in the last couple decades.
You know what's a good one though? Being in a band and being on tour and being vegan. That was, at least when I was overseas, I couldn't just look up where to go. I didn't have any service. So I had to rely on wherever everybody needed to stop, that's where I would go. So it was a very salad and pretzels, and you know, the thing is, I'm gonna do what I need to do. If I have to eat raw vegan and just find the fruits and the vegetables,
I was just gonna say
what
that.
I'm gonna do.
Yeah.
And also, I mean, that's probably really good for me. I go on tour, I play music, and then I cleanse. Let me put it this way, I did not do that. I found vegan junk food anywhere I could, and I ate that. But that was difficult because you're used to the comfort of your own home. Whenever you feel like eating, you can eat it. But when you're on tour, you're on the road, you gotta stop at a gas station and find something vegan. That's tough sometimes.
All right, we'll close this out. We have so much more that we wanna say, but this video is getting pretty long, so.
If anybody has any questions, wanna post them in the comments below, and we'll just kind of document it.
Yeah, we could do that.
For the podcast?
Yeah, we could do that, and we can ask, obviously, on the podcast video what they want to hear. So thanks for watching. Give us that thumbs up if you liked the video. If you want to see more of these kind of real videos of us, you know, not being chased by zombies and stuff, please give us a thumbs up if you like it. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the little bell so you don't miss notifications. You can always go and help out Mockingbird Farm Sanctuary. I'll put their link below. Any kind of donation, they appreciate it. The animals appreciate it. Follow Jon, and I'll see you guys next time.